Let's go and do a quick review of graphing the exponential function. So if you have a test or a quiz or homework coming up, or you just need to review, this is exactly the most important things that I want to cover with you. So this is the exponential graph. Now, this is the most basic one, but again, we want to start with understanding things and remembering things. And when things get hard, I want you to always revert back to this. Now, if we want to understand what this graph looks like, we can create a table of values. Like for any function, always start with looking for a table of values to understand what the graph is going to look like. Okay, so I am purposely choosing these table of values. You can obviously pick any value for x if you want to, but these are the ones that are going to give us the best understanding of what this graph is going to look like. So if I plug 0 in for x, the y-coordinate 2 raised to the 0 power is going to equal to 1. And here's kind of the joy or the beauty of the exponential graph. No matter what the base is, guys, anything raised to the 0 power is always going to equal 1. That's going to become very, very important. If I plug a 1 into there, 2 raised to the first power is just going to, again, give it back to itself, which is a 2. 2 raised to the second power is a 4. And what about a negative 1? Well, just remember, with our negative exponents, y equals 2 to the negative first power is the same thing as 1 over 2. So that is going to equal a 1/2. So let's go and take a look at what this graph is going to look like. So we have 0, 1. We have 1, 2. And then we have 2, 4. And then we have negative 1, and that's going to be at a 1/2. Okay, so this graph is going to look like this. And this is what we call the exponential graph, and it is the growth function, right? Because you can see as you read this graph from left to right, it is going up and up and up. So what is the most important point about our exponential functions graph? That is going to be the y-intercept is going to be 0, 1. Because here's the other thing. This is also an exponential graph. This is also an exponential graph, right? But I want you to understand, it doesn't really matter what the base is. Yes, if you have a different base, it is going to change, a little bit of the shape of the graph. However, they're always going to cross at 0, 1, because when you plug 0 in for x, you're always going to get back to 1. So that is critically important. Now, obviously, we're only talking about growth functions, so that's going to be when your base is going to be larger than 1, but we'll talk more about that a little bit later. Now, if I want to generalize this exponential graph, then we can use this formula. Okay, so b is just going to represent any base that you're going to have. And again, this is going to be when b is going to be greater than 1. So we want to have any number that's going to be larger than 1 is going to have this growth feature. And again, the y-intercept is going to be 0, 1. Now, there's a couple important things that are going to come through this, or a couple things I want you to remember about this as well. As this graph is going down, as we're looking to the left, it goes to 1/2. And if you were to continue in more negative numbers or negative powers here, you're going to get smaller and smaller fractions. The denominator is going to get bigger and bigger. So what you can see is this graph is actually approaching 0 going to the left. Well, when it's approaching something, we know that's kind of like the trigger word for that there is going to be an asymptote that is going to occur. Okay, so just remember, a lot of times we don't always graph in the asymptote, or sometimes we forget about it. But remember, this graph, as we're going to the right, it's going up to infinity. But as we're going to the left, it's approaching this asymptote of y is equal to 0. That's really important, is because we want to remember this general idea of this growth function has a domain that is all real numbers. However, the range is going to be from 0 to infinity. So that's going to be only positive values in on that range. Now, when you are graphing the growth function, there are a couple transformations that we want to make sure we can apply. Okay, so let's get to the easy ones real quick. And I like to always relate whenever I'm dealing transformations with any type of function, just to remember transformations with quadratics. So when I have this x minus c, notice how this is inside of my function because it's a part of, this function is what we call the exponential. You have this power, right up top there. So whenever you have something inside of that, that is going to be the inside of the function. That is going to be your transformations left to right. So x minus c is going to be shifting, or the x minus c, or the c, is going to be representing your shift left to right. And this plus d is outside of the exponent, so that's outside of the function. That's going to be your vertical shift up and down. Now remember the a. When we talked about a quadratic, right, a represented a reflection about the x-axis. It was also either a vertical stretch or a vertical compression. The a acts the exact same way with this exponential graph. However, there's something really, really important that we need to remember. When my a, okay, when I have an a, my a is also going to impact my y-intercept. Because let me go and make the case here. If I had a, let's do a little sidebar here. If I had a 5 times a 2 to the x, well, remember, 2 raised to the 0 power is 1, right? That's the y-intercept. But then you have to multiply it by 5, right? So the y-intercept in this case is going to be 0, 5. What if I had y equals to a 1/5 times 2 to the x? Well, now my y-intercept is going to be 0, 1/5. Now, obviously, if you have different transformations on your d or your c, that's going to impact the y-intercept. But it's really important. If you have an a and there's no other horizontal or vertical transformations, then a is going to represent your new y-intercept, right? If there's no c or d, a represents your new y-intercept. That is something critically important. Now, the other thing that I want to remind you of is something we talked about with our negative powers. When we start getting something that's going to have negative powers, we're actually going to be changing what this graph is going to look like. So remember a, that reflection about the x and the y-axis. So if I actually have a negative power, that is going to be reflected about my y-axis. And there's a couple different ways we can look at this. Let's look at it these two ways, okay? So if I have a exponential equation, y equals 2 raised to the negative x, that means my x is actually negative. That is going to be a reflection about the y-axis. Another way that we like to be able to write it is rather than rewriting it as a 2 raised to the negative x, we do what I kind of wrote in here. We could do a 2 raised to the negative x is the same thing as a 2 raised to the negative first power times an x, which is a 1/2 raised to the x. And the reason why that's important is because when I talked about y equals b to the x, when b is greater than 0, that was what we called the growth function. However, when y equals b to the x and b is going to be greater than 0, but less than 1, that is going to be what we call our decay function. And again, if you look at this, the decay function is going to have the exact same attributes. However, now, the domain and the range are all going to be the same, but you can see now this graph is going to be going down, right? And it's actually going to be approaching the asymptote y equals 0 all the way to the right. So the same transformations, everything else is going to be applied, but I really think it's important to make sure you understand we have this asymptote, understand the domain and the range, understand how we go from growth and how we go to decay, and just remember, ladies and gentlemen, a will impact your y-intercept. But if you ever get confused on whatever exponential function you have, go back to this exponential equation. It's the easiest one for us to remember and for us to look at and kind of reshape what the graph is going to look like. So hopefully that was a good review for graphing the exponential function. Now I think it's time to go and do a quick review of graphing the logarithmic function.